People, how you doing? You're listening to and watching Street News Now, SNN. That's where you are right now every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. This is what we do. We all congregate and bring forth discussion. That's what it says here on the card. So there we go. We do this every Thursday. Go to the YouTube channel and type in SNN, Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Catch us on Facebook Live, also on Twitter and Twitch. And so our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, will be here momentarily. But I bring in, as I call all of us, the masters of intellectual chaos. Let's bring in Dr. Ron Ford. How you doing, sir?
What's up? What's up in the hood?
Well, that's good. How you doing? How's everything?
Everything is good, brother. Everything is good. Yep.
Nice. We're going to get to you first. We go around with the topic, so stand by. Coming up here, of course, the person who brings education, and is always cool, Professor Reggie Miles. And okay, we got his likeness. Hello, Professor Reggie Miles likeness. How you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
Oh, that's great. There you go.
You know, I got this green halo thing around me, so I might be doing some Jedi stuff.
Yeah, you're doing karate or kung fu, man. You the last dragon.
Man, but I guess it's my green screen type thing. So I see a whole lot of stuff that's going on. Okay, but I got some on my mind, but I'm probably gonna have to go and pick up my daughter from the basketball game. I'm gonna see, but I would like to have a discussion on rites of passage.
Okay, then I like that. We'll tell you, we might have to take you first because I know you got to take care of and pick up your daughter. So we'll switch that. So hang tight as we bring in. I didn't know he changed his name until now. So I can't call him what I usually call him. So I have to introduce him as Michael Amore.
This one's dedicated to the professor because his head is in the glow of love. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, boy. Go ahead. 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 Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, okay. He said stop.
Go ahead.
Your head
right, literally go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I said. Your head was in the glow of love. I'm sorry, Chris.
That's all right, man. How you doing, Mr. Amore?
I am well.
Good.
You know, I'm about to experience the trip around the sun for the 65th time.
Oh, happy birthday to you, brother.
Yes, and as I stir into the mix of my mind, I am accumulating thoughts that are beyond my control. We'll discuss later.
We don't want to get inside your mind because all of us would get lost.
Yes, there's a lot of space up there. There's a lot of space up there. Yes, it is.
That's right. Preach.
Yeah,
absolutely. And as we bring in the other brother of Mr. Buck Wild.
Nigga, your birthday isn't until July. What are you talking about?
It doesn't matter. I'm on my way. I was seeing the glow of love in Ron's head. In the professor's head.
Ooh, my birthday's coming up. Your birthday until July. What are you talking about?
But he kind of set me on fire. That glow got me going. It got me to thinking, the sun and everything. It was just, it took me over.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, you don't need an excuse to celebrate.
I really don't. Thank you, Dr. Ron. Thank you.
Yes.
That's touching that you said that.
I'm hating because I corrected him on his birthday.
And he don't know when he don't know when he was born. Okay?
I don't know. I don't have a clue. I was just,
freestyling. Right.
Yeah, I just ended up.
Yeah.
And I just happen to know when your birthday was. Go crazy.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. That's a compliment and I love it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, there you go. So we're all in effect. As I said before, Lee will join us momentarily. So as Professor once said, he got to pick up his daughter. So I'm going to yield to him and have him go first with his topic as soon as he gets back from these.
Glowhead.
Like this there.
From his bathroom break.
Oh, he should have told me.
Professor Glowhead.
Yeah, they got to make a new nation. Okay, you're back. Okay, here we go. So Professor Reggie Miles, you have the floor. Go right ahead.
No, that's glow right ahead.
Glow right
And
ahead.
you're quick. Yeah,
I know
you're
that.
quick. You're very quick, doctor.
Yeah,
You're
that's
very
glow
quick. Yeah,
Listen,
right
listen,
ahead.
listen.
yeah. Go
listen.
right ahead. I like that.
Where's the
Glow
rim shot?
right ahead. All right, look.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay,
Ooh.
what was on my mind? What has been on my mind, and
We can see.
there has been some some organizations that have been going forward with the rites of passage. And as I look at the situation today, I'm wondering how many of these organizations exist to lead our younger black brothers into a manhood, into a better manhood than what's out there. See, because as African Americans, we're caught in a vice, man. We're caught in things that's like really opposite of what's in us. Okay, we're like focusing on this material. We got to deal with competition and materialism when at other times there was spirituality and family commitments and other things like that that were a part of our upbringings. And so I think now it's time for us. I mean, the men that are elders now, either we need to go back. Well, not necessarily go back. We need to provide some solutions to try to get our young people, give them a better pathway or lead them. Let's play Hansel and Gretel with them, lead them some crumbs to a better future. We can't leave it up to them. We can't leave it up to this society within itself because this society is really not about us. So I want to throw that out to you guys to see what you think about that.
Well, let me jump in real quick. I everything you say makes all the sense in the world. When you're of a mindset of trying to grow as a human being when we're children, we all need guidance. We all need someone to hold our hands and show us the way because obviously they know the landscape, they have the experience, they know the navigational tools for you. Hopefully, the breadcrumbs that we leave are not stomped on or eaten by certain people. They should take the message for what it is. I hope that they listen. I hope it serves them well. I'm a strong proponent of the mentorship alliances. When you find someone who can help you along the way as you know mature and get older, but that's if you want to mature and get older. You have to receive the message. So I hope that everything you said comes true for the people who want to listen. Not everybody's going to be a pay attention to it. You're going to have some people say, oh, I don't want to listen to that type of stuff, and they go about their business. I think the people who will definitely will benefit from that. We all benefited from someone who knew the landscape before we ever knew what the landscape was. So let's hope the message is received by the ones who want to listen.
Yeah.
Amen.
You know, yeah, one thing that I want to add to what he's saying is that we as the elders have a responsibility in order to be able to provide a path for them to see and follow that they can benefit from. You can have a whole lot of confusion going on, but the one thing that people will gravitate towards is things that are positive and the things that are beneficial that they can see as beneficial. Because a lot of times there's so much chaos that exists, and I'm just gonna say it. A lot of times the message that is given to the younger generation through various types of music that can be construed as not positive. So now you got to give them a path and a message that they can see what the benefits of that message will be. And it's our responsibility to give that message. Like, Chris was saying, you know, we all followed somebody that came down this road before us. Okay. And we picked and choose what we wanted to use as a guide. Now, everything we see, we're not going to gravitate to. But then there's something out of what we're seeing, if enough people are putting out positive messages, they say, oh, I can do that, or I can do that, or I can do this. As long as there's something that they can see, because it's our responsibility. We got a responsibility, whether they like it or not. It's still our responsibility. And I'll just use this as an example. You know, men, fathers, teach their sons how to go to the bathroom. Okay, that's our responsibility. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, and we do it with pride. You know, a lot of times, you'd be like, my boy stand up and pee today. You know, hey, that's an accomplishment. But yet he had to see it in order to be able to gravitate towards it. Like if you had a father in the house, like I learned from my dad about magic shave. You know, magic shave was something that he used to use to shave his face, and the proper way to use it and not use it. So I mean, it's our responsibility is what I'm saying. We have a responsibility to teach and to show useful information.
You know, it's one thing that and I'm guilty. I'm guilty. And do you know that I don't know of one organization that provides a rite of passage? I don't know of one. I don't know of one. Not one. I don't know of one.
And why do you think that is, Professor?
You know, I don't, because I don't see it practiced a lot amongst us. One of the things that we do start off doing it, but what happens is that one of the reasons, and I've seen this research, and of course y'all know I got this from a research paper, right? So I can send it to you, right, if you want to, right? So here, one of the things is that the adults, we fall off, we quit. It's on us, the adults. We fall off, you know, and one of the things that we do, we like to shift the blame back on them. Oh, they too wild, they too crazy, they do this, they do that. And no, but we find out that we don't have the time to bring them up.
Is it we don't have the time, or we don't make the time?
Right.
I was just ready to say that. Yes.
That's it. Yeah. We don't make the time to continue. We start off in the beginning. It's great balls of fire. We'll run. But, you know, I guess if we don't keep putting coal on that fire, we let those coals that's in there just burn till they can't burn no more. So how do we change that?
Let me say this. And you make an excellent point, and I think it has to go back to the point of understanding, you know, going from mere sex to fatherhood, and there's no real trail of evidence that there's someone there letting you know how important that is. You know, the young folks somewhat call it shooting a gift. And, you know, there's more pride in doing that than it is raising the gift that God has given you as your son or even your daughter. But we're talking about young men right now. And, you know, I'm in slight disagreement with the fact that I believe that there's probably more women who have taught young men how to urinate in a toilet than it has been men.
It was women with me.
I don't remember learning how to pee, but you could be right. I mean, I'm just, you know, really not trying to be funny, just keeping it real. You know, because it's just too young. I mean, you go from a diaper. Mothers normally change diapers. You know, you get some men who do it, but it's a mother's role. The mother's checking. Is your pamper wet? Yo, are you wet? What's wrong? Are you wet? So it kind of morphs into that, and then getting him to go to the toilet, you know.
Check this out. Let me throw this. Oh, as they said in the great movie, in that movie Hoodlum, when Bumpy was sitting across from what was Clarence Williams's Clarence Williams character, he said, "Smoke this." Check this out. The educational system and socialization process devised by the dominant culture has proven to be dysfunctional and genocidal to the African American community.
Absolutely.
For this reason, we African Americans often find ourselves in the position of having to first protect our children from the maladies of society before we can even attempt to pass on the survival oriented wisdom and knowledge of the African culture.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. What we gonna do about that?
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. You know, when you think about it.
What we gonna do about that? You know?
And real quick on a side note, the character that Clarence Williams III played in Hoodlum was Bud Hewlett.
Yeah,
was the character he played.
Bud Hewlett.
Yeah. He said, "Smoke this," you know.
Right. Smoke on. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the language in that. And let me talk to you for a few ticks.
Yeah.
now you just brought it home for me. I remember that. That's
I use that right to this day, man. Yeah, let me talk to you for
God.
a few ticks. Right.
Yeah. So let me talk to y'all for a few ticks. So now that we got that, now that we're faced with that, so it's a huge battle, and all the points that we've made, you know, they're cool and what they call succinct. Is that right? Is that the right word? But listen, it's like even bigger than that. It's like we gotta deconstruct them because everything around them is pushing them in a different type of pushing them in a different direction. The educational system is talking like, wait a minute now. It's like theirs is a different purpose from ours, you know. While the Europeans are assumed they send their children for positions of power, what do we send our kids for, right? Mm-hmm. What are they going? You know, the educational system is designed to send our kids to be in subordinate positions.
Right.
So how do we bend it? How do we bend that? How do we tell our own selves, well, you got to be a powerful man, but the only thing you could do is become a subordinate?
Wow. That's heavy.
It's true.
So rites of passage. Where do we begin to reshape that for future generations? Not trying to do nothing with the cats that's running it now. We got to somehow plant some seeds in them because they're like too far gone. Everybody's too far gone now. You know, you're too far gone because we've been entrenched in this society, you know, because the first thing, if you say too much against, you know, the oppressors or the dominant cultures, the way they do things, our own is gonna fight you. You know, hey, what you talking about? Mm-hmm. You know, our own is gonna fight you. So, but how do we get to save our children's children and their grandchildren? How do we got to play Hansel and Gretel? We got to leave them something, and we have to it's like turn the wheels counterclockwise, or turn the wheels or unscrew the tightness that this European view of the world is put on our kids. So, you know, I mean, the way this European view got our kids wound up, our children, they're killing themselves. You know, the gang, everybody, we fighting over everything that doesn't belong to us. And we fight ourselves for stuff that don't belong to us.
That's true.
What kind of sense is that?
Yeah. Makes no sense.
Is that? Yeah, I mean, we fighting over stuff that we don't even own. We don't even have any ownership of it, period. You know, in the urban areas, city blocks, and and probably every apartment that's in the area is owned by some other, dominant culture real estate magnate, right? But
Mhm.
yet and still we fighting over killing each other over things that don't even belong to us. How do we change that? And where do we begin? Is it in the educational system? Is it in our communities? How do we reestablish that old saying that it takes a village? Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm guilty. I don't even know of one organization that's run by blacks for blacks that's going to tell a 13 or 14-year-old kid when they're coming out of grammar school, going into high school, showing them a different side other than the contemporary cultures or the contemporary images that are being shown to them by the media. Where's the balance? We got to put something on the other side of the scale, because it's tilted all the way on the oppressor now. But how do we take something off of that and make it and put it on the other side to bring it up to where is our young people can make a decision to do that? Because they just like falling into this influence of what the dominant culture says. And when that dominant culture is not for us in the first place.
The responsibility of the black male is our biggest issue.
Mm-hmm.
We have no one, as you said, no organizations, no people that are helping build a successful black male. Taking on the responsibilities of having children, taking on the responsibilities of getting a quality education, taking on the responsibilities of understanding what it means to be a father, especially when you don't have a track record because there's no dad in the home and all you see is your mom. If I was talking to a young lady earlier today and she was just leaving from picking up her children, a boy and a girl, and they were participating in sports. And that's one of the things that a lot of everybody's guilty of when our kids become of age, adolescent. And the first thing we do is we take them and put them in a sports program, teach them how to play basketball. There's the Corey League. You have all these different ways to raise children through sports. But as you said, Professor, there's no place to teach a man, especially a black man, how to be a man first before he becomes an athlete. What do we do? Where do we go? Who do we make responsible? You made me think about something, ironically. I went to this school and I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, and I went to a school in an area called Cahokia, Illinois. And I had never paid attention to how many teens, I didn't pay attention to teen pregnancy. Didn't know anything about it. Nobody was talking about teen pregnancy. And they had a class for pregnant teens. Now, this school was 9th through senior year, 9th through 12th. And so all the girls that got pregnant, there was a class for them to go. But there were no males in that class. So the girl has to go learn how to be a mother, but the young man who impregnated her is still on the rise at whatever level.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Doing his thing.
Doing his thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for those words. I just didn't know.
I was thinking those words. I just didn't want to say them.
Yeah. Or either the Eddie Murphy thing coming to America.
Right, exactly. But isn't that weird that, they take this class, and I remember it was like about 2 classes down from my biography class. And if you look in there, it was all girls. Most of them were showing, and they were teaching them home economics. How to cook, how to clean, how to change diapers, this kind of stuff. No males whatsoever in the class.
Was that a biology class or geography class? Because you say biology class. Whatever you just said, you said
It was a biology
biography.
class.
You said biography class. I'm like,
I mean, I meant
is
biology.
that a new subject?
Yeah, yes, new. I just made that up. Okay. Biology, But, when you think about it, you're just trying to figure out, I mean, and this is like going back 50 years, and you're thinking, I remember that class. Everybody knew who that class was because every girl in that class was pregnant. Some showing and some not.
The biography class.
In this home
pregnancy
economics class. Yeah. I know you're joking around. But, once again, that's what I said. When you go back and you think about it, and nobody was, because Professor's right. At what point do you're making the young lady that got pregnant, you're making her responsible, but no one's addressing the man who got her pregnant or the young man that got her pregnant.
Okay, I'm about to say something that's going to probably be very unpopular. But we're talking about teaching young men the whole rite of passage and, But at some point, at what point do we start talking about people taking responsibility for themselves? Meaning these young men. At what point?
How do you take responsibility when you don't know what it is?
I said,
did you know what responsibility was? I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you know what responsibility was at the age of 13, 14?
You know what? It's been a long time. I want to say yes, but it's
You
been a long
can't.
time. I don't really know. I don't remember. But
Really
what I'm saying is, no, I'm talking about at what point, meaning like by the time they're 18, by the time they're 18, do we stop allowing them to use excuses? But like, okay, well, nobody taught me this, or I don't know this, or that sort of thing. At some point, does a person have to take responsibility for their own lives and get it together on their own, regardless of what their past was? Because it's your life, and you get one.
I'm with that. Billy Preston made a song that all of us know. All of us know this lyric, and it's basic math. He says nothing
from nothing
leaves nothing.
You got to have something.
If
you want to be with me,
and we all know that. And so if we haven't put something out there for these young men, and they come into this with nothing, you understand? Mm-hmm. There's nothing gonna be gained, because 0 plus 0 is still 0. Yeah,
but it was different when we came up, and we came up in different eras. But nowadays, these kids have access to the knowledge of whatever they want to discover. And all they have to do is just get on the computer.
Okay, Google it
on their phone.
Now, that's great.
It was different.
It was great. But I gotta say this and I gotta go. It was a gentleman that told me at one of my at my first job at the United States Postal Service. He looked at me and he told me, because I was a young 18, 19-year-old brother. And he said, you call me Brother Miles. You ain't doing nothing but shucking and jiving.
Which he was, probably.
He grabbed my hand. He said, brother, let me tell you something. He said, it is impossible to have youth and experience at the same time. He said, all you need is time. He said, all you need is time. And the last thing he told me was save your money. Save all your money. I'm out.
My dad used to say that all the time.
All right, man.
Save your money.
All right, Professor.
All right.
Love you, brother.
Listen while I'm in the car, but I got to go get the baby.
Absolutely.
All you need is time. It is impossible to have youth and experience at the same time. I don't care how you go and Google it and how you can see it. That's reading it. But experiencing it,
of course,
is two different things.
Exactly.
We can read all we want. Mm-hmm. You can read stuff and it don't register. But then when you go through it, you say, well, dog, I read that.
But you know what, though? We'll see you later, Professor. But I was going to say, though, when I was young, I read a lot of books. That's unusual, I know, for some people, but I did. I read a lot of self-help books. And even though I didn't always implement the things that I read in these books, there was some really good information there and some of it I did, and some of it really helped me propel my career, my life forward.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So nowadays, there's really no excuse. And I'm not saying that's.
But you hear that thing that tells you, it says experience is what?
The best teacher.
Best teacher. Oh, correct. Right. But armed with at least some knowledge helps a lot. And especially having role models to show you how it's.
Well, now you just answered your own question. Boom. There it is. You stop right there.
No, what I'm saying, some of us don't have it, but you know what? If you don't have role models, you don't have role models. You still got to make it.
Yeah,
it's like the song from Power. Is illegal or illegal? I've got to make it. That's what he says in the song. I've got to make it, regardless. And unfortunately, some people do take the illegal path. I'm not saying, but by the way, Power is such a great show. Goodness, Power Book 2, Ghost, the yacht with the sun. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm sidetracked. I'm gonna have a little
distracted
with Jack here.
Yeah, distracted.
Yeah, Jack has become the next co-host of the program. So yeah, we have to.
I was looking at Watika and her comment, and it makes perfectly, good sense as a starting point. You have to address that issue at home with your sons and daughters. That's the first.
Issue is that, Watika?
Well, when you're starting to mentor and teach your children on putting examples of what they need to know to be able to get to the next level in their life. So if you put a good foundation in a person, see, like Mike's got a good foundation. I can't say the same thing about you, Buck, but Mike has got a good foundation. I don't care what you say about me. But he's got an excellent foundation in him. So he's not going to stray too far from that. He's constantly always talking about his grandfather and the images that he gave, like he went to work and how he got cleaned up and, how he did this and how he did that. He celebrates in that even now, 60 years later, because that was the foundation that he was exposed to, so his beginning days were the track for him to follow, and I guess the question that should be asked on this topic is, what are we willing to do to be more of a foundation and to lay a foundation for people to see so that we can mentor, so that we can be the guiding light to show them, okay, this can work if you go that way. So that's a question that we need to say, hey, even if we're not doing it enough, I said this a few months back, when you grab a hold of somebody and you hold on to them and you give them a lifeline to be there for them, especially in a city like Chicago, where young people are getting killed every day. If you grab hold to them and give them a place, a safe haven, you can give them a person to come to when they run across hard situations in life, then you are doing something. You're making that bridge to get from one place to the next. And that's what we have to do as men. We have to do that.
Well, then do it then.
Well, let me make this correct. That was my dad who was actually my uncle. Okay. And the mother who gave birth to me, there was her oldest brother of 9 children. Mm-hmm. And
we get that.
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is,
we get that.
Well, the thing of it is, when you think about 9 children, that's a lot, first of all, and born to a sharecropper. Okay, so he's already dealing with racism. He's got all kind. I'm talking about my grandfather. Okay, and what he had to deal with, and then you got to raise 9 children, and then the oldest of the 9 is upset because you took him out of school in somewhere between the 6th and the 8th grade to sell fruit and vegetables from their farm in the middle of town on a wagon.
That was common back then, though.
I don't know if it was or not.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I've
But
heard that before.
the thing of it is, he's so upset, my dad, that he hobos on a train from Columbus, Mississippi to St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm going, you hoboed? I mean, we see that on TV. We see it in movies. You see the guy with the stick and he's got the handkerchief tied up in. You know, I hoboed on a train. You got to catch a train while it's going down the tracks and stay on this train. And you don't have Google. You ain't got no Waze.
You don't know where the train's going. Right?
Yeah, you don't have it. You're right. What if it's a train going a different direction? And then get to the point where he was gambling. He had gambling parties at his house. Then he gets hired at General Motors, and then he's lending money to other men at 25 cents on a dollar and gets caught. But they didn't arrest him. They warned him. And had a strong enough wife in his life that threatened him, like, if you don't stop this, this is get ready to be bad. We didn't go get this child who doesn't have a father to raise him for us to turn around and put him in a more dangerous situation than he's already escaped.
Loretta
because if my dad had been caught in the factory, in the plant, he would have went to jail. And now, what is it? I'm fatherless again. And so it's just like Ron and what Professor Miles is saying, you know, when we start talking about the level of responsibility, where does it start? Where does responsibility start that we can have influence on the next generations to come? Because the whole time in the Anglo community, they're seeing artifacts of their grandparents and aunts and uncles going all the way back across the ocean. And they're being told about property that they have that's going to be theirs when they get married. That conversation is not happening in the home of most African Americans. During our time, should I say?
Nope.
At all. You're going to get some property. There's something left for you. That's pretty amazing. I can't really be mad at them about it, but at the same time, I'm not cheering them on because I'm saying, like Ron, like Professor Miles said, what organizations, whether it's the Urban League, if it's the NAACP, whatever it is, what organization is going to take the responsibility to say, you know what? We've got to recreate the Black man. And we got to do a better job than to leave them of their own will. How do we do it? How do we bring on that responsibility? You know, not just classes about telling them how to take care of themselves, but we need classes on relationships. We need to be talking as a life coach. I talk to plenty of people, not just women, men right now who can't find a good woman. There are Black men out there right now saying, yo, man, I love to hook up, man. I can't find a good woman.
Not in Atlanta.
and they're not identifying the word good against bad, but someone they can be pleased with. You know what I mean? I mean, finding the right person. See, you can't identify the right person through sexual intercourse or tongue kissing. You got to find something in that person that makes you feel right about what you're about to get, about making a commitment, should I say.
And you know,
I don't know.
It's one of those
bobbing
things.
and weaving, and we're going all over the place now.
No,
I don't think so.
no, not at all. When you have someone in your life like a father or a father figure, and once again talking about us as being black men, it means the world. I said last week about my own father. So, for example, my dad worked. So, as a kid, I would be with my dad. So, his routine would go, so for example, to the laundry. To the cleaners to get his suits and his ties and his shirts. Shirts is always heavy starch. Go get his shoes shine.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the barbershop. Get a manicure. And for years, of course, being his son, I always was side by side with him. So when I became a young man after my dad passed, go to the same cleaners with my suits. You know, got my shoes shine. With the same barbershop. And then one day I was leaving the barbershop. This is when I had hair. When I got to the barbershop, I realized that I'm the extension of my dad. It was really profound because I never would have done these things had I not had him in my life to show me an example. And then, you know, like years later in the summertime, this is when the sagging thing really took off. Or I should say went down. So I went to the store around my neighborhood. And there was about 4 or 5 teenagers outside. And so all of them had on sagging pants. So I come out, I said, hey, can I talk to you guys for a second? Yeah, what's up, old head? Oh, old head. Oh, okay.
Old man,
all right.
old head.
Yeah, old head.
Defensive mechanism. They knew where you were going
Not even
immediately.
OG, but old head.
Not old head. Now, this is what I was like, okay, all right, youngster. All right, you know, still got similar behind your ears. Here's the thing.
Test
Did
tube,
you know
baby.
the culture? Yeah, exactly right. I use some choice words, but I won't repeat them right now. So I said, do you know where that culture comes from was sagging your pants? Oh man, we saw, you know, in the movies, we saw LL Cool J on the magazine where everything is blah, blah, wait. So of course I told them where the culture came from, prison. And it was an inviting men to have anal sex with you. Now, mind you, it was 5 of them. One pulled his pants up.
Well, good for him.
I'm
At least he
afraid.
did that.
Whoa!
So
Hold up,
he was like, hey, are you for real? I was like,
You reached
like,
one.
man.
Hey, you reached one, Chris. For real.
But that's my point. If we take it upon ourselves to go outside our own doorsteps of our home and took an opportunity to talk to people when we can, and then using examples of what we could do because we know so much, we can't take it with us. We have to share. We have to pass it down. So if you're able to do that, it's the classic each one, teach one. You don't need an organization.
I think the problem, though, is that kids don't respect or revere history like we do. I think they think that old history, and maybe just a new way of thinking, I don't know. They think that the all that history, all that stuff way back, that don't matter. All that matters is now and today and me and what I want. And it might just be a self-centeredness. I don't know. Because, you know, anybody under 30, they don't care about nobody but themselves. And the younger, the worse they are about it. You know what I mean? Also, the self-centered to the max. So, you know, it's kind of hard to try to lead and be an example and a role model because these kids don't care about that. They don't care about, and they don't care about you. And what you have to say, what did he say? Old head?
Old head, yes. Right. Yes, he did.
This is crazy, man.
But the one who said old head was the one who pulled his pants up.
First.
Wow.
He was the one and only.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
He was the one and only that did it.
Wow.
So again, you never know who you connect with.
Right.
So you're absolutely right, Buck. There are going to be people, younger people out there, they're going to dismiss you on sight. But the ones who listen, because again, it's peer pressure. If she does it or he does it, and you're young, you don't have a mind of your own yet, you can be led to anything. some of these children and young kids, they don't know any better because no one told them right from wrong and wrong from right and everything else. It goes back to home. And then you hang out with your friends, they don't know anybody either. I don't know anything. It's the blind leading the blind, literally.
Like it is usually with kids.
Exactly.
But you know what? I don't understand why this whole sagging pants thing has lasted so long. Usually trends don't last that long. This has really lasted an unusual amount of time. What is that?
They're
What's up with
predators. That's what I was trying to tell you before. See, it's deeper than a style. If you listen to them, it's a style.
Right.
Like I told you, the girl's in the car with me. She's 19 years old. She says she can't stand it. She says, but I think it's because they want to show off their belts. What?
Or show off their butts? I don't know.
No, she said belts.
No, I'm saying I don't know. I'm just guessing.
It's not showing. There's nothing to show off. You got on a pair of blue underwear. Whoop-de-doo. They're predators. It's a new way to take advantage of someone without giving them a lot of time to think about whether they want to have sexual intercourse with you. Go ahead, Dr. Ron.
I remember a conversation I had with my mom when I was at a tender age. When you're dealing with trends, because I wanted to be trendy, for that era. And she came out with this one. She said, if there were 9 copycats on a bridge and one jumped off, how many would be left on the bridge?
What were you trying to do, Ron? Wear a zoot suit or something?
Can I finish my story, sir?
Just asking.
Yeah. So, and of course, I didn't catch it at first. I was like, 8. She said, no, none, because they were all copycats. So if you're all copycats following after a trend, then everybody's going to follow behind what they think they need to do to be, the cool cat, or, whatever the phrase is, to make you, part of the in crowd. Okay. But if you think about it, the words that she gave me have stuck with me. It made me not want to be a part of the copycat crowd, create my own trends, carry my own direction, create my own mind, follow my own mind, and not try to find the mind of somebody else.
So what's the difference between sagging like someone else versus when we came up having an afro?
The afro was because we had hair. And then we went to the braiding thing. Remember that? That was a trend.
Everybody did it.
Yeah.
If you saw somebody else.
But that was a movement. Now that's the difference. Because we were into that say it loud, black and I'm proud, afros, afro picks, black power, because white folks couldn't carry afros back there in that time. They was doing the slick back thing, the Elvis thing. Okay, that was their trend. But for our movement, that was our thing. Now, the movement before us was, when they were sticking their head in the toilet trying to get that perm off.
Yeah. I was about to say, did you have a perm?
Yeah, conch.
Did you have a perm? Did you dye? Did you put the dye in your stuff? Fried dye?
I had what they call an S curl. That's before.
I remember that. You had the S curl, dog. Woo, you had the S curl.
Yeah. So
you was the one in that movie, that Eddie Murphy movie, where he left the stain
on the back of the couch.
Coming to America, right? Let your soul glow.
Everybody's house you went to had Jerry curl juice in the bathroom. Come on now.
Oh yeah, but hey, wait a minute. Let me remind you though. You didn't have too much to worry about because everybody's house you went to had that plastic on their furniture.
That's
right.
Remember?
You could spray up, and they had that plastic, and all your collars was wet. Everybody had that problem. But the point that I understood that my mom was trying to make is don't be like everybody else on purpose.
Yeah, that's it. That's the move.
But you know what, though? It's a big thing, though. At least it was 10, 20 I'd say 20 years ago at least and back, for people to want to fit in. Kids, they want desperately to fit in with their peers. But I think that there might be, somebody told me recently that nowadays the trend is to be different. Like maybe that finally like it clicked.
I don't see it.
But I mean, I don't know. This is what somebody told me.
I think it's gotten larger, and I think and you know what?
What's gotten
It's not
larger?
the following trends. You know, as a matter of fact, it's beyond color now. I mean, you see, okay, we used to make jokes about how white girls had flat asses. Go in Walmart or Target, and every white woman in there got on tights. They got on tights. They all got their hair down. That's that look with their hair down, you know, like I'm looking like I'm not really paying any attention to you. I'm serious about who I am. I mean, they're even trending themselves at a level. And I'm looking at white dudes that are wearing slides comfortably.
What are slides?
They look like house shoes. Well, athletes had kind of started the trend because it came out under Nike and Adidas. So when you got done playing ball, you took off your shoes and you put the slides on. And you basically
shower
shower.
shoes.
That's exactly it.
Shower shoes. Yeah.
They were shower shoes, but they had, but they wear them in public because they have Adidas on them or they have Nike on them.
Right. But you know, and you're right. It nowadays in this era from 90 up until now, you know, getting butt injections, breast implants, all of those kind of things.
Got no color to
trend.
it.
Nothing wrong with that.
But they got a trend going, and Caucasian ladies now want to emulate what they could not stand at first.
They're standard. There you go.
You know, and they
don't want to be black, but they want to look like it.
But you know, they taking cellulite out of their, you know, butt and blowing up their lips and all of that stuff so they can have big juicy lips. And I'm not, you know, but you're missing the point. It's a trend. It's a trend. Okay,
that's the point. It's a trend,
you know,
and it's not just
in
us.
the beginning.
And a good
in
one.
the beginning, and I'm talking about back in the day when Mike was referring to what the trend was then. And now fast forward, because white folks didn't think it was a good thing to look like us.
Oh,
they
not
really
at all.
didn't.
No,
they didn't.
No.
You know, and some colored girls wanting to look like white women, skinny, no butt. You know, they liked it that, you know, like, because that was the image of beauty that they were putting out there. You know, on the
Wait
runways.
a minute, you're saying black women wanted to be skinny with no butt?
That's right.
I've never
exactly
heard of that.
Right.
No black
well,
women.
just because you ain't lived long enough, Buck.
Exactly.
Apparently,
do you know that white women wore weaves? But do you know what they were called?
What?
Falls.
What?
Falls. They were wearing weaves, but they didn't call theirs weaves. They didn't call them extensions. They called them falls.
I've never heard that. What year was that? 1930 something?
Well, no. This is in the 60s and 70s. Every white woman you saw
during the sexual revolution.
Yeah. Right. They didn't have hair.
They had a whole revolution. They had a whole revolution.
They were wearing falls.
The sexual revolution. And the images of beauty were runway models who would look like anorexic people out of Africa. But they was white. So that was the image of beauty.
But you know, though, part of that comes from Europe, though, too. That's like the image of beauty in Europe, too. And that kind of, you know, the fashion world.
You just made my point, because black women wanted to be considered beautiful as well. So they started to emulate what the industry declared as beautiful.
And what's interesting is that it's still to this day in Europe, what we consider a beautiful black woman, they consider it ugly. And what they consider beautiful for a black woman, we might be like, okay.
You know, it wasn't until what was her name? Iman.
Tika said they still got falls. I'm sorry, Ron.
You know, until Iman and Tyra Banks came along and revolutionized the runway.
Oh, Tyra
okay.
Banks.
because when you got Tyra Banks out there, a full-figured woman, you know, then they start accepting black women as they were, as beautiful, not some ironing board looking chick. Okay.
Yeah, Tyra
You
Banks
know?
brought titties back.
I remember going to a runway model fashion show one time. I was invited. So a friend of a friend invited me. The guy was like 6'5", and he was a designer himself. I think his name was, I don't know, Willie or something like that. Willie, this is Chris. Chris is Willie. Christopher, how you doing? No, it's just Chris. Hello, Christopher. I'm like, okay, we're on to that type of thing. So we go to the fashion show, and we're sitting up front, and of course the models come out to do their thing. And there's one lady came out. I swear to Sonny Jesus, you could see her rib cage on the side of her dress.
Wow.
And she looked very gaunt. So the Willie tapped me. Gaunt, yes, gaunt.
What does that mean?
That means skinny as hell. So
I've never heard that word.
So he's got sunken in cheeks, like she hasn't had a meal in 3 days. So
Skeleton.
Thank you. So he nudges me, Christopher, isn't she cocaine chic?
Cocaine chic.
I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
I said, what the fuck is cocaine chic?
Cocaine chic, right.
Well, overseas. This is an explanation. So overseas, the models do cocaine a lot. They stop eating and they get really skinny, and then they start to walk on the runway. I said, she needs 2 double cheeseburgers and a Coke. I mean,
that's right, brother.
Like right now. So, but that type of imagery that he was talking about was popular.
Which
so
makes me hungry right now.
They would not eat. They would literally starve themselves to the point of bulimia, as we find out down the road. You could play, you could play xylophones on their rib cages.
On their rib cages.
And just, they just go for broke. But the fact, I never heard it before in my life. Isn't she cocaine chic? And he was very proud of it because he came from Europe and was doing all this crap that they do overseas. So when you create these images of what beauty is beauty in the eye of the beholder. But Dr. Ron's correct. When you had other people coming forward that had bucked the trend, not you, Buck, but had bucked the trend and came out and was different and was voluptuous and was the exact opposite of that, it gave beauty a new look. We've already known it from our own perspectives. From a national perspective, it just literally changed the game.
But the reason
Let me just jump in.
Well, the reason why those models being so thin was in the fashion industry is because the thin models, when they put the clothes on,
there you go. I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, it was easy to change out of the cut. They didn't have to put on a girdle. They didn't have to do anything. Change it.
No, I'm saying that they made the clothes to drape off of these basically skeletons, and so
like you see the I don't want to call them dummies, but the what do they call the mannequins? Yeah.
Although you know what, nowadays you go to, at least in the hood, you go to a mall or whatever. The mannequins got titties and ass and everything.
Oh, well, wow. They got to do that because, like you said, the trend. It starts all back to what Dr. Ron was saying, how trends have taken total control of our lives. Right. And like so I said, it's not a black white thing anymore. It's total. It's across the board.
Right, because Eunice Jackson celebrated the black image of beauty, and she created Ebony Fashion Fair, and which traveled all across the country from coast to coast and international, which gave us an opportunity as blacks to celebrate our women and fashion.
I'm sorry, Eunice who?
Eunice
Johnson.
Johnson.
Okay, you said Jack. Okay, Johnson.
I said Jackson.
Yeah, I know who he was talking about.
Yeah, John Johnson's wife.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, John. Mm-hmm. Right.
Johnson
Fashion Fair.
Yeah, wrong J. Okay. But yeah, it gave us an opportunity to celebrate.
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful, exactly. And she created a whole empire out of it.
And Chris has got his card out, so I think we're gonna change the topics, aren't we?
You know what? I'm gonna give you this card, man. Let me do my thing. You just sit back and smile.
I was waiting for you, baby.
Yeah, you just Kool-Aid with the moderator.
You just sit back and smile. I got this. Don't worry about it, doctor. Okay. All right then, thank you.
Aaron, you would be hard. Aaron Rodgers would tear your ass up on Jeopardy because I saw a couple episodes he did hosting Jeopardy. Yeah. He wasn't nothing to play with, dog.
No, he wasn't. No,
he was shutting shit down, y'all.
Exactly. Oh, well, okay. So thank you. So yeah, I guess this is the sign. No, I was just using this to think. So as we go into our next topic, here comes Dr. Ron with the setup. So Dr. Ron, the floor is yours, brother. Go right ahead.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, I want to say that this is something that we kind of talked about last year in detail. The justice system is broken, and it's broken everywhere. It's not just broken in Chicago, but this article that I'm referencing on this week kind of explains and goes into detail on what some of the details are that people are going through with this broken system. Case in point, in Chicago, we have outrageous, crime all over the place. And the crime, has been going back and forth with the police department as like, hey, we can't get this under control because of our supervisors and our lieutenants and all of them are still caught up in the good old boy system of doing things. So the superintendent and the mayor are in agreement that, you guys ain't doing your job. We need to take you out of your positions and put you back in the cars on the street. So, because you forgot what your main purpose is to get out here and try and let's deal with some of the issues that exist and trying to stop some of this crime. Well, one of the criteria, first of all, that we've talked about in the past is that police don't stop crime, they investigate crime. Okay. So
True.
when the crime has taken place, then you send in a whole slew of officers, detectives, investigators to try and figure out what took place, before when they weren't there to be there to try and stop it. So one of the big issues, and I posted the article on the Facebook on Chris's feed, and I'm going to also post it on the YouTube feed in its entirety. But this is a universal problem all across the country. One of the cries that took place during the George Floyd protests was that we need to fix the broken justice system. We need to take some money away from the police and try and come up with a different system of dealing with what's going on in our communities. And of course, the police came up in arms. They had a whole subcommittee in Washington, D.C., and every union came out and said, oh, no, ain't nothing wrong with the police. We just need more of us. Well, you can put 1 million more police on the street, and you're still going to have the same problem because criminal activity is not being dealt with at its root. Okay, there's a lot of different reasons why we have criminal activity. You got mental illness, there's some gang problems, there's a multitude of different issues that cause us to have the crime problems in all of our cities. Right now on the rise in the city of Chicago, it's very trendy to do carjackings, drive-by shootings. Okay, well, we don't know the nature of why these things have trended and why they are on a popular upswing, but the police are at their end. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to address these things. So now they have infighting. According to this article, the superintendent is addressing the fact that you guys are not staying on top of your districts and bringing the numbers of crime down, the homicides down, the events of criminal activity. Also trending in Chicago are these smash and grab rings where they're driving cars or running into expensive stores on the Mag Mile and snatching purses, jewelry, you know, all sorts of things of value and running out. Okay. And they don't have anything to stop these type of activities. So all they do is show up after it's over with. Okay. What do you want us to write on the report? And that's it. Okay. Now, recently, within the last part of last year, in the last quarter of last year, I only heard of one incident where the police actually discovered some of the stolen merchandise. It was stored in two storage trailers in the Chicagoland area, so they recovered a lot of stuff. But that's only one incident. They're still breaking into stuff every weekend. So the police, with this broken police system, cannot get ahead of this issue because they're always a day late and they're always behind the criminal activity. So now you've got 100 people at a crime scene, okay, standing around the yellow tape, making an appearance like we showed up. So to put more people and throw them into a system that needs to be rehabilitated and fixed is an issue. So I got the entire article that addresses how the mayor and the superintendent are trying to cover their asses, okay, because that's basically all it is, coming into an election cycle. She brought this man in from Houston, and now she's trying to stand behind him and work with him. Oh, it ain't his fault. It's his staff. Okay, it's not his, they're not supporting him. So everybody's trying to cover and whitewash, the issues that exist in the police departments across the nation because the system is broken. We're not dealing with people's problems. We're not addressing the mental illness. We're not addressing the drug issues that are on the street. Their universal answer for everything, it's a gang problem. Well, some of it may be, but not all of it. So, the reason why I brought this topic to the panel is because it's universal. It's from coast to coast. It's not just a Chicago thing, because also last year we showed the statistics of the murder per capita all across the country, and Chicago was not the number one city. As a matter of fact, I think I made Mike Love a little upset because we mentioned St. Louis was higher on the list, his hometown, than Chicago, but he dealt with it on that day. But the issue is the system is broken, and we need to address this system and try and come up with a realistic plan to, first of all, make universal policing something that everybody can grab hold to and say, okay, this is a good idea. And when the unions objected it just slid away and died. It was no longer a topic. So I throw it out to my brothers. I know we deal with crime in our communities wherever you all live at. What do you think would be a very good suggestion to address this issue of crime being broken, the system being broken? Somebody slapped Buck upside the head.
Oh,
why
sorry.
you fall? You fell for it. He knew you wasn't supposed to respond to that. How you?
I because see, he's a criminal on the worst kind of level.
Hey, no, it's just that it was it's just you were saying some good stuff. It's just a lot. But
Let me
tell
say
you,
this.
I used to listen. I used to have the Birmingham mayor on my show once a month when I was in Birmingham, and we segment called "Ask the Mayor." And he used to get hammered all the time about crime. And every single time, not every single, but most of the time, he would say, hey, most of the crime happens between two people who know each other. So what am I supposed to do about that? How can I prevent that? But here's the thing. He was a law professor. He was a very smart individual. But here's the thing. Remember the whole defund the police movement? And everybody was like all up in arms. Oh, they can't defund the police. That means get rid of all the cops and all this other No. Defund the police means take some of that money and deal with the issues that cause crime. Because you're right, Ron. If you don't deal with the cause, the root cause, then it's going to keep on going. And what is the number one cause of crime? Anybody?
Tell us.
Poverty. Number one.
I'd agree with
poverty. It's the truth. And number 2, mental illness and drugs. Deal with those things, and the crime will take care of itself. I had a teacher in high school who used to say, hey, take care of the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
Oh,
yeah. If you
it.
take care of the problems that cause crime, then you won't have to worry about crime anymore. But that's not really and when you just say defund the police, I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere. Is the solution going to be put more cops on the street and lock more people up? No, that's not the solution. So
Yeah, that's the broken system we got now.
Right, exactly.
Well, let me say this. Ron committed a crime on this show about 3 minutes ago, saying that I was upset about him reporting crime in the St. Louis metro area. He needs to be locked. He need Chris, do you have those handcuffs I gave you?
Yeah,
I need you to lock Ron's lying ass up.
Yeah, lock him up. Put him under the jail.
Put him under the jail. Okay?
Especially for that 10-minute
No,
rant.
put him on top of the jail. We're gonna put him on top of the
That's
jail.
all right. We'll build a new jail and put him underneath that.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Brand new jail.
Underneath, but hey, what the hell?
Y'all sound like the system for real.
No, seriously. You know, one of the things that is remarkable about what you said is when people do get upset and not transparent about where crime. See, when crime is living in your neighborhood and you go, no, not here.
Right.
Something's wrong with you.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest problems is not the
Talking about jails when
who,
they want to put a jail in your
well,
neighborhood.
no, I'm talking about people who live in crime-ridden areas and support the crime, but then say the police always picking on them. Well, you know, they always arrested Junebug. Junebug don't never be messing with nobody, but Junebug done broken everybody's car on the block.
Yeah.
Junebug is the first one standing on the corner, always begging for money. Junebug don't have nowhere to stay, and everybody's tried to help him, and he refuses. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe in defunding the police department because that's not where the money, that defunding the police department is crazy because you're taking away from yourself. The police, that's right, Leslie, it's always been crime ridden, okay? So I already understood that what Ron was talking about is crazy. He's just trying to get my goat, and then he ain't having it. But the thing of it is, defunding the police department can only hurt the community more than help the community. One of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that the mayor appoints the police chief. Now, that's a big problem within itself because 9 chances out of 10, and I'm not saying every mayor is guilty of this in the country, but anybody, okay, you got to understand the political system and how it works. It's all about getting elected, right? Okay, so if Ron is running against Buck for mayor and he wins, he has a constituency of people that he got to take care of who voted his hot ass into office.
Especially his donors.
Well, especially his donors. And so they're going to make recommendations. Hey, you know, my friend Chris Bass, you know, he took law enforcement in college and, you know, you need to go ahead and put him in there. But he don't know anything about police activity. He don't know anything about the community.
Took law enforcement, you mean criminal justice?
Whatever it is. Okay? You always trying to correct somebody. Stay with the facts.
How long you been out of college?
Okay, it don't matter. We talking facts here. Okay, we're not sitting here trying to be super educated. This ain't no MBA course. This is the reality. Okay. Yeah, that's what that was supposed to be. But at the end of the day, when you turn around, and I'm just using you for an example, Chris, when you turn around and we take Chris, who has a criminal justice degree, okay, or a degree in criminal justice, and he has no experience on training police officers or ever been in a police force of any type, and you make him the chief. That's not good.
How often does that happen?
A lot.
Really? Like
I'm telling you, if you know anything about, if you've lived in any place where politics is king, that whole area, especially in the St. Louis and the East St. Louis side and all of that stuff, it's all politically influenced. People get jobs at the city department. People get jobs as police. People get jobs in every department. That you have to take care of them people that got you elected. My dad was an alderman for 25 years. And the guy that was the county board chairman, he headed up the Democratic Party. And so they used to have this dinner every year, and they would give you tickets. It was a political dinner, right? So he would give each alderman, city council person, police, whoever it was that had city-based jobs, $500 worth of tickets. It didn't matter if you sold, you couldn't come back and say, well, I only sold 100 tickets. Here's the other 400. You had to give him $500 because that was money that was going into his campaign. See, our political structure is the reason that crime won't stop. And they don't want to admit it because we live in a politically corrupt society.
Yep.
Okay? And it's unfortunate that that's how it has to be done, but that's how they get elected. So they got to have street teams out there that are getting people, taking them to you got poll watchers. Every poll watcher belongs to a political party. That's not just somebody. How do you get trained at watching at a poll? Those people are connected to a political party.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And so everybody that's in that process is connected to the person that gets elected.
Yep. And it's their fault. It's on their watch.
You're damn right. It's their fault.
It's on their watch. So now I don't want to extend this out too long because we got two more topics.
Appreciate it.
I gave two.
You'll never miss an opportunity, do you? Shut up.
I gave two scenarios that would be good to address the broken system. Okay. One was that there are thousands of police departments across the United States. All of those police departments do not have uniform training of any kind. So you can go in Illinois and whoever stops you, they're going to deal with you differently from maybe Chicago or somebody else or East St. Louis. There's no uniformity in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So the federal government teaches policing for every branch of the military that they have. The military police, the sea police, every branch. They all have trained police officers for each branch, but they're all trained uniformly. So if you take that same training program and apply it to every police force from east to west, all across this country, now all the police have the same procedures, how to deal with things, how to address situations.
I love it.
More effectively.
Bingo.
Secondly, it was listed in the comments here. If you want effective policing in our communities, the police need to look like us. Okay, because if you got the Irish cops beating up on the black kids like they always do, we're never going to gain any difference in how policing are effectively dealing with issues in our community. Okay, because people that look like us are going to deal with us differently than they would deal with somebody else. Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes black cops.
I don't know if I'm with, for once, please make a score of that, Chris. I'm agreeing with Buck.
Okay. There was a scenario in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. They fired all of their police. When we had another co-host on the show, he made reference to this incident. Newark, New Jersey fired all the police.
I remember that.
And they hired black cops to service the community. And it made a difference. Crime went down in Newark, New Jersey based on that move. They brought in a whole new police chief. They brought in all black officers, and it effectively executed a change because Newark, New Jersey was out of control.
I wonder, though, how many black people apply to be police officers. Because, police is, who aspires to be a cop? When I see a black cop.
Well, okay, stop right there. You just made an excellent point. Okay.
True.
Yeah, excellent. Because, Ron, that makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense. It does in the sense that we need to see us. It's the same thing with the NFL. Right now, the NFL and the NBA, 80% of the players are African Americans. And they're down in the NFL to one black coach. Damn it. So you got 80 players out of 100 that an African American listening to the Mike McCarthy's and all these guys out here, and it doesn't make any sense. So I'm applauding what you're saying in reference to that, but there has to be a balance. We have to go back to what you said in the beginning. Don't conflict it. You have to have the training, because what you said is it's got to be uniform. It's got to be from LA to New York. It's got to be Chicago to New Orleans. It has to be the same training.
But it's not going to be, though, because it's a local thing, and the federal government doesn't.
Well, they can change that. That can be changed, because crime is crime. A stick up is a stick up.
But that's not how the government works.
Well, that's what we just said a few minutes ago. The country is politically corrupt.
But we also said the system, the current system is broken.
It is.
So as an opportunity to approach a resolution to a broken system. Okay. Now we know that the unions rejected that idea of the federal government trying to come up with a plan.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Okay. Well, and they're fighting against that. But they're fighting against it. So, to your point, Buck, you're right. They don't want to change. They want to keep it messed up. They want to keep going under the same broken system.
There you go. Status quo.
Because it's comfort zone.
And easier. Right, exactly.
It's a comfort zone. Okay. We got what we got and we like it. Plain and simple. Okay.
Right.
So
we're used to it. That's what it is.
To try and embrace a change is definitely something that's going to require work, effort, and acceptance.
Yeah, change is difficult for most people in general, across the board.
But going back to the example that I gave about New Jersey, that model worked for that area. So it's something, if you got a success story and it worked in that area, why not take that same model and try and apply it in other urban areas where we send people that look like us in there to deal with some of the problems that we have?
Because whoever pulled that off was good, and not everybody can do that.
Well, to see if it works. But if you've got a success story out of it, why not try a success story? Because it worked.
Now, okay, so I'm going to go with you again on this. Like I said, once again, I don't think it needs to be an all-black squad in order to get control. But once again, let's go all the way back to the conversation that we were having about talking to young men in high school and talking to them in grade school before Professor Miles left the conversation. We have to start early in recruitment to these systems, because the reason it's not happening is because it's political. And if you don't hire the right people in these police positions, then you have a problem, because there's no way that chief is connected to the fact that the mayor is going to appoint that person. That's crazy. And it happens everywhere. You don't ever see anywhere where the police chief is running. Okay, you don't even know who the police chief is unless he shows up and he's got 5 stars going across his collars and he's got all this stuff on, and you go, oh, he must be in charge.
Until something major happens.
Yeah, he's got to make it. He's got to do the news conference. That's exactly it. But we have to come up with something that says, I'm going back to the uniformity that Ron said that I think is excellent. You got to have the same thing. This policewoman that shot Dante Wright, okay, the reason that she was found guilty is because she was training. She was a police trainer. Now, if you really went and did some work, you would find where the problem is. Now, maybe she was good at training. I don't know. But it proved that she wasn't, because she accidentally pulled her revolver instead of her taser.
Right.
And she's training police.
Right.
So that's a problem within itself. And that's where Ron's point in the uniformity comes into place, because you can't have, a lot of them, they go to these colleges. They'll send them to the University of Illinois and they got some kind of police program up there. We don't know who the hell's teaching it, what the hell's going on. It's just some foolishness. The country is politically corrupt, and we got to get a hold of it some kind of way.
Thank you, Rev.
Yeah.
You welcome.
Ron, go
God
ahead, and
bless you,
I'll
boy.
come on after you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that in Chicago, you will notice that there are generations of families that become police officers.
Yes.
You know, they consider that a career family in the police department, and it has created in-depth problems because you're going to emulate what your grandpa and your great grandpa did on the job, and he's told you many stories about what he did. So when you can't wait to get out there and do what you have been conditioned and trained and made aware of that you'll be able to do once you become a police officer.
What was the
that
guy's name, Ron? Excuse me, I got to jump in because you hit something right dead on the head. I apologize. Magnum PI.
Uh-huh.
What's the police story that he's in right now?
Blue Blood or something?
That's what you just said is Blue Blood. His daddy was the police. You just did an episode of Blue Blood.
But how many people want to be cops though that where their families weren't?
It doesn't matter how many
I'm
want to
saying
be.
Cops are professional haters. That's not a good
I'm not
thing.
going there with that. I'm going back to what Ron just said about it being a family business, quote unquote.
I am going there, and that's how.
Watch
a lot of
Blue.
black
Have
people
you seen
perceive
Blue Bloods
No.
with the guy from Magnum PI?
No,
Watch it.
Tom Selleck.
Oh my God! It's what he just described that freaking show to a T.
Okay, great.
It's crazy. I mean, it's
haters.
You know, and you know, one of the issues.
Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that what I said is not valid.
I don't. Well, the thing of it is, you can't call somebody a professional hater unless
This is
you
how
know.
it's perceived. I'm not saying that that's the way I feel.
Okay, well, you didn't say that at first, and I agree with you in
That's how
perception.
it's
Yeah, it
perceived.
could be.
That was the whole point of me saying it.
Yeah, but you didn't say
You be
perception.
dismissing me.
You are dismissed. Go to your room.
Okay, so
And pee in the toilet. And stop
that's
peeing on the
fine.
side of the toilet. You're always peeing on the side of the toilet like you need somebody to hold your little wee-wee. So you can shoot directly into the water. I need you to shoot directly, Buck, into the water.
I shoot
because
into the wall.
his mama showed him how to do it. That's why. So look, we're gonna get out of this topic, but I made my point.
All right, wrap it
the
up.
system is broken.
Wrap it up.
And it's not just broken in Chicago, it's broken everywhere. So
You ain't the producer of the show. I was trying to take over something.
No, let him have fun. Let him have fun. Ain't nobody listen to his ass anyway. So let him.
Always trying to take over something.
Everything else, yeah, go man.
Always trying to take over. You ain't the producer of the show.
We're about to wrap it up. We're about to.
So as often as we say this, I want everybody to know that it is I would like to champion that cause over and over again, that the justice system is broken. And we need to keep saying it until we can execute a change.
And you've said it 1,000 times.
And so I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you.
Back to Mr. Bass.
Thank you,
Mr. Bass.
And no, it's not over. I'm going to say about this topic. Then we'll move on to Mr. Amore. So
look, you ain't nobody daddy. You always acting like you somebody daddy or something.
Look, it's him and Jack. You understand that? It's him and Jack. Jack
Hey,
and him.
Hey, Chris. You know what a mute button is, right?
I know exactly where it is. But
you're the one who needs the mute button. You're the one talking so much.
Okay. My point I was going to make, and I'm going to make it now. Going back to what Ron said about the Chicago violence, I do a show called Baseline every Friday, and I have a guest on at 5:00 every Friday at 5. His name is Pastor Donovan Price. Pastor Donovan Price, been known as the street preacher. He is in the trenches on the street, helping people when it comes to violence, and he has comfort and aid and assists families, individuals when these things happen. Every time he reports the number of deaths per week in our city of Chicago, there's no end in sight. Especially now, life is a life, but we're talking about babies and children just sitting in the house minding their own business, getting shot by a stray bullet. Can't even go outside. And it used to be a point where there was a lull in crime in the wintertime because it's too cold. We call it the hawk around here. But even now, it doesn't matter what time or the winter or the spring, there's violence take from all parts of the Four Seasons. And so that is sad. This man was on my show, Pastor Donovan Price, a great brother, talks or tries to talk to the mayor all the time, but is met with the Heisman Trophy stiff arm. The mayor doesn't want to hear it. As you said earlier, the mayor just want to get reelected. There's people dying in the streets, but that's not a high priority. It's falling on deaf ears. This man's on the street every day trying to help families who've lost loved ones to street violence, to gun violence. And this is a high priority issue. These are people that are paying rent like anybody else and living in the city. You try to go to the mayor with something, never a phone call return, nothing at all. And it falls on deaf ears because it doesn't matter you get shot and killed. It doesn't matter if you're a grieving mother who saw their baby get killed out on the street. Your priority, mayor, is to get elected. And that's the damnest shame of all time.
But a lot of mayors feel like they can't do anything about it. So
no, but nothing be the failure but a try. If you don't try anything, at least try something. Put some plan in place instead of just ignoring it and try to will it away. It's never going to go away. It's going to be continuing violence. Every time I talk to this man every Friday, it's the same thing all the time. And he tries his best to work with the city, but the city doesn't want anything to do with him. So individually, he just got a good grant for his business. Well, he does a lot of connected with families. He's there at the hospital with the families when the person gets shot. I mean, he's really hands-on. Again, it's called solutionandresources.org, what he belongs to. He just recently got a grant that would help him build his organization to bring in employees. He's a one-man gang at this point. Now he's going to bring in employees to help him as he would train them for this movement, who I'm telling you, and Michael will appreciate this because him being a man of God, his faith delivers him because, again, I give him all the credit in the world for what he does. So he, like Ron said earlier about the concept of this working in New Jersey, maybe work somewhere else, he wants to take his plan and bring it nationwide to help people in areas where there's high crimes and violence, to help them, to comfort them, to provide aid to these families who are suffering. See, nobody talks about that.
That's right.
That's right.
He's a remarkable gentleman. I'm glad to call him my brother. And I just want to, because all this, I think about him and what he's going through. I mean, he's out there every night with a Kevlar vest, hoping he won't get shot.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing feat of work. I had probably have to bring him on the show here at Street News Now one time to get a chance to know the brother, because and you talk about God's work, I go along with that.
Amen.
I go along with that. So, again, I'm going to bring him on the show. I'm going to ask him if he has time to do so. And so, thank you once again for that topic. It was fantastic. Got a chance to, have some meat and bones with that as we do other topics. So now I yield to Mr. Michael Amore.
Yeah.
Woo!
You know what made me come up with that? I was listening to Portuguese Love from Tina Marie. And she sings about amore in that song. And it's just, it's a love song. And, that's what the world needs now is more love, isn't it, Buck?
Yes, it is. Now get to your topic.
Yeah, shut up. As you could tell, Buck and I love each other very much. That's my boy. I love him. I do anything
Yes, sir.
for him.
Now
You
get to
know
your
it.
topic.
Yeah, plus shake him upside the head with the fist. I don't have to rush because of you. The more you talk, the less I'll talk.
I'm saying
say something else. Say something.
We got less than half an hour left.
Have you talked about yours?
No, you're first. 25 minutes left.
Why don't you go first?
No.
Okay. All right. Mine is actually very short. And it was a great segue coming from Chris in reference to understanding your purpose in life. My subject tonight is talking about being rich. This seems like that's the biggest thing that's on a lot of people's minds. Red, black, yellow, green. Everybody wants to be rich. There's nothing in being rich. I've never been rich before, but the several people, and that several is only a few that I know, they're okay. They're happy with it. They're comfortable, but it's not what it's all made up to be. It's nothing to follow. If you do something responsible create a company or get awarded something and you have a lot of money and, you know, you're well off, I think it's beautiful. It's great. If it happened to me, I wouldn't get the money back. But at the same time, I'm not spending time trying to be rich. You know, God gives us a purpose in life. And that's what I'm trying to seek. The first 48 years of my life, I was doing dumb stuff. I tell people all the time, I'm surprised I didn't have 25 kids running around here. I'm surprised I'm even alive. I've done drugs. You know, I've been in places that I had no business. You know, just one thing after another. And God has always saved me. From the moment of conception, God has been trying to save me. I'll step right there on shaky ground and he'll pull me right out of it. And, you know, the thing of it is, I've never been incarcerated. I've never been injured by a bullet or any kind of weapon. You know, I've come from a humble beginning, people who love me and wanted only the best for me. I tell this story all the time about my parents. And, you know, my grandfather, my sister was born in 1955 and I was born 2 years later in 1957. And my grandfather saying to the mother that gave birth to me, "You're never going to get married like this." And her oldest brother and his wife come along with no children and adopt me and give me everything I want. And, you know, throughout my childhood, people used to tease me because I had a car when I was 6, brand new car. My dad bought me a 1974 Monte Carlo off the showroom floor, $4,500. And everybody just thought that was the biggest joke. You know, I had clothes, I had everything. I wanted for nothing. But I wasn't spoiled because, you know, my dad didn't play. There was no talking back. There was no staying out late. There was no doing what I wanted to do. I had to follow the rules just like everybody else. But I didn't learn to appreciate it until later on in life when I had to start understanding what it's like to make it. See, everything that my parents did for me is because they were grateful for what they had. My dad almost went to jail for lending money in a GM plant in St. Louis, 25 cents on the dollar. And eventually he was tapped on the shoulders by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, warning him that if he kept up these activities, he would be arrested. And my mother was ballistic and said, "We went through all of this to adopt this young man, bring your nephew in here, make him my son. Our names are on his birth certificate. We're his parents. And you're going to give it all up to help somebody else just giving them money because you can." And the thing of it is, being rich it isn't the symbol that we make it to be. It looks like it's big. Oh, they got money. You know, I was looking at the top people that have money in our country, and the Walton family sticks out because it's about 4 or 5 of them, and all of them have billions of dollars. And that's good, because their dad started working when he was a teenager at Ben Franklin's Five and Dime. You have to be my age to understand or remember S.S. Kresge's and Ben Franklin's Five and Dime. These were the original Walmarts and stores downtown in small cities.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Hey, I know you don't, under any reason. So the thing of it is, you know, when you think about humble beginnings, this guy was working as a stock clerk. I'm talking about Sam Walton. And notice that, you know, at the store when he was, you know, as a stock boy, they would run out of items and people would get depressed, you know, come in, "I need some black socks. I got to go to a funeral," and they had ran out. And so he said, this has got to change. And so throughout his life, he was trying to figure it out. And he came up with the system as he was developing the Walmart brand, that fulfillment was the key to success in the marketing business. And so he created this software, well, not the software, but this plan that says that every time you buy a pair of socks at Walmart, at the cash register, it sends a note to Bentonville, Arkansas, where the headquarters is, and they stock it immediately on the truck. So that Walmart is going to get another pair of socks almost immediately. And that turned out to $1 billion business, and there's Walmarts coast to coast. And they're making a lot of money. I'm happy for him. But it was his purpose that got him the money. And I think that's what I really want to put emphasis on. If you serve your purpose, the payoff could be anything. But let's worry about our purpose first. Let's not look at Drake because he got a $5 million watch and I got to have one. Let's not look at Jay-Z and what he's done. Let's not look at, actors and rappers and stars and people like that, so on and so forth. And not to pick on them because there are other people that are doing things in the political system. Remember when Donald Trump was running for president, he already had a 747 jet, the same size as Air Force One. A lot of people don't know that his money came from marketing. When you see buildings that have his name on it, he was leasing his name on the building. He didn't even own the property. And that's incredible. So everybody has the opportunity to come up with great ideas to be rich, but don't spend all your time there. Spend your time on your purpose, whatever it is. And everybody has a different purpose in life. My purpose is helping people. I'm a certified life coach and I enjoy talking to people. One of the things in life coaching that is different than being a psychiatrist or a therapist is that we don't give advice. We have to listen. And so you're listening to people tell their stories, and most of the time they're convoluted with all kind of craziness. But at the end of the day, they just wanted somebody to hear them, somebody to talk to. And if that's what my purpose in life is, you can bring me out, guys. If that's what my purpose in life is, then I want to super serve it. And I'm just saying, don't put all your effort in being rich. Put your effort in doing something for somebody else. Put your effort in something that makes you who you are.
Well, when I win this $376 million from the Mega Millions, then I'll let you know what it's like being rich.
It's fine if you win it. I mean, I do it. I got this app on my phone called Jackpot. So I can go right in and I sometimes I do $5, $10. It all depends on how many times you wanted to spend the numbers. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but that's not all I do. A lot of people, Buck, spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to be rich.
And you know what's funny? Most people that I know that are rich are kind of miserable.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You got a 20,000 square foot house. You can't go anywhere. You got people in your home that are waiting on you hand and foot. I mean, there's a lot of things that you don't get it. I mean, you see them a lot of times. They take cruises all around the world. They eat at the best restaurants. There are a lot of great things about being rich. I'm with you. If I hit the lottery, and I'm not going to say, I'm sorry, state of Texas, here's your money back. I'm taking all that money.
Right.
But I don't spend my time worrying about being rich.
Well,
I spend my time being faithful to God and serving my purpose. Hold on. To serve the purpose that he's given me in my life. And I'm still trying to discover that, to be honest with you, because I know some of it, but not all of it. And I've been able to help a lot of people. My phone rings all day. Everybody wants to be syndicated. Somebody wants to get a podcast. Somebody wants to know where they can get jobs from. I'm appreciative of that more than I am being rich, that somebody trusts my opinion, because I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer and I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I don't want to be. But when someone respects you for that, that's enough for me. It really is. And that's my time. Chris?
Buck, you was going to say something. So
I forgot what it is already? Now. It kept on talking, so I was like, I forgot now. Shit.
Well, if it was important, you would have remembered.
No, I wouldn't have. I have a bad memory.
Yeah. Wait a minute, Ron. When you get that 356 million, go get some treatment.
76 million.
76 million, whatever it is.
I'll buy some Giga Biloba.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to applaud Mike with giving us a inspiration of we need to understand as a person what our purpose is and what can fulfill us to the point where we will have the gratification without the dollars and cents. Like they say, riches and silver and gold cause a whole different set of problems. Rich
nigga problems, like that song. Remember that song? No. I got rich nigga problems.
Well, we're going to sit here and listen to Buck right now, his foolishness, so that anybody will miss the point that I'm trying to make. Go ahead, Buck. your turn to act a damn fool. Crickets.
We're
Where the
listening.
crickets at? Where the crickets at?
Just go on, Ron. Stop being an asshole. Just
Oh.
go ahead and finish what you're gonna say.
Oh, okay.
I think he felt the same way about you.
I was just bringing up a song. It wasn't no discussion. Just go ahead and do what you're gonna do. Instead of being an asshole.
Why are you Frenching your face all over?
Because he's being a fucking asshole. For
Okay.
no reason.
So
All
you never do that?
No.
Okay. Well, I was giving you the spotlight. You wanted to talk.
Go ahead, nigga.
Talk.
Just go ahead. Stop being a fucking asshole and finish your fucking point.
Ooh. Boy.
Yeah. So anyway,
JD.
you know,
what's the fucking point?
JD's revenge.
and he's still talking when I'm trying to talk. So if you find your purpose and you have fulfillment, you will feel better about what you're trying to do than trying to accomplish tokens, you know, things that of substance that cannot make you feel good. You know, they may add to a quality of life, yes. But when you fulfill your purpose, there is definitely a piece of accomplishment that cannot be underrated or compared to what dollars and cents can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And very well said. And so now the time has now been yielded to Mr. Buck Wild. Mr. Wild, the floor is yours.
I'm good. I don't even want to talk about anything anymore.
What happened? You was going to talk about something.
I'm done.
You're done?
We got 16 minutes.
Don't worry about the time. The time is yours.
No, I'm done.
Come on now, trans athletes. Come on, doctor, go on and do your thing.
I'm done.
Oh, that's
I'm going to say this to you,
Let
man.
Ron talk. He loves talking.
I'm going to say this to you as your friend. I've loved you from the moment I met you in Fort Lee at the Holiday Inn when I hired you to work at WBLS. You're a rare and a phenomenal talent. This show was put together for guys to do what broadcasters don't normally do, and that's follow all the rules. And all of us have the opportunity to express ourselves in a way that, either makes us look funny or makes us look like we're crazy. But we don't ever want to show the audience at large our backside, whether we feel good, bad, or indifferent, because that's not what they tune in for. They tune in to us, Buck, Reggie Miles, Chris Bass, and Dr.Ron to be entertained. And that's what it's all about. And we're having fun. We all poke at each other. We all interrupt each other. This show is not meant to be CNN or MSNBC or Fox News. It's meant to be a moment of enjoyment for all of us as friends. And even as friends, when I was growing up, we get into it playing marbles. But we go to the movies. Our parents would take us to the movies or the drive-in that next day, and we'd forget all about it. And I think...
Let me interrupt. I gotta apologize. I gotta apologize, guys, because when I came into the green room today, I forgot to say those 5 words, man. Y'all know what it is.
I don't know what words you talking about.
I ain't nowhere in the world.
Yeah,
now you got it.
I forgot about the FU word.
Yeah, I haven't said that in like 2 weeks. I think we done got off the track, man. So put that in your mind right now and hit the rewind button and play it.
Yeah.
Just go and play it. Put it in your head, put it in, and then let's proceed. Let's do the show.
Let's have fun. Let's have fun and do the show.
I mean, because when it gets that serious, I'm gonna be the first one to quit. Because we all intelligent brothers, different sides of the track, doing different things. And if we're gonna talk about rites of passages, we got to be the example of it.
Woo!
Right here and right now.
You're preaching, brother. You're preaching.
We can't throw down like that. You know,
Buck up. Come on with it.
Come on with what?
Whatever you got to say.
I was about to click off.
Okay, well, don't click off. Come on,
I
man.
didn't click off.
All right, well, let's go.
I stayed in there.
All right, good. That's my dog. Come on.
Come on, what?
Whatever you was going to talk about. You said you had me go
I'm not
first.
going to talk about it because we discussed it ahead of time, and you of all people said that it was not a good topic. So I'm not going to force
What
a topic
topic is
that's not
that?
a good topic.
What topic is
not
that?
relevant. That's not relevant. As a matter of fact, we can end the show early if we need to.
Well, that's on the moderator. That's
Hold on a
not.
second.
But any topic you decide to bring is relevant.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, folk ain't here to see all of us ain't here to see Reggie Miles or Dr. Ron.
I think that we tend to bring a lot of topics that are very one-sided. That because we are all fairly like-minded. And it was a topic that I thought had two sides to it, and I like topics that have two sides to it. But it might not have been that interesting. So I mean, sometimes it's just not that.
Come on, I mean, let me ask a question. Now, when you say interesting, what are you comparing that to?
Right.
What are you comparing that to? I mean, are you comparing that to professional standards, or are you comparing that to, you know, the standards that you've been living in? Because we're performing right now in a different sphere. But all of us have that professional experience. That's what makes it great. That's what makes us great.
Right.
Because we all have that type of background. But you know, you never know what you can say that might enlighten somebody. This is going across the world. This is not to a specific or a target demo.
Look at what Jed just said.
Yeah.
Jed says all topics are good. Please, Buck. We love you. Bring it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it as Mike was shooting it down, and
now it's my fault.
Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe
I don't remember what was the topic. What are you talking about?
You know exactly what I was talking about.
No, I don't. If I did not ask you, I ain't got to play dumb with you. What was it?
I was saying because the Winter Olympics are coming up, how transgender people are allowed to compete.
Okay.
And is it really hating to say that maybe that's not fair? Because the ones that used to be men, and they change over to becoming female, they still have male genetics. They have an advantage, and they get in there, they whip everybody's ass. Is that fair, or is that just hate?
I got a question for you. Don't lose your thought. I was kind of saying the same thing the other day about a week and a half ago, and this is going to get out, so I don't know Steve Harvey personally or not. But when this show came out, the Judge Steve Harvey show, I was thinking kind of the same thing, not based on gender, but I'm going, what about all the people out there that have gone to law school, that get appointed, they're judges?
Oh man, that's deep. Deep. That's deep.
It kind of threw me off.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going, wait a minute. The Judge Steve Harvey show? I mean,
and you know what? It's the number 3 show on TV.
I believe it. But man, think about it, if you went to law school and you've done all of this stuff, and you know, you because you're a comedian, and I thought in my mind, go ahead.
Go ahead, because you can. I mean, you could say that to us in our craft, man. When a singer comes in and get the job behind the mic.
Well, a little bit, but anybody just can't be a judge.
Anybody can't just be no DJ either.
Yeah, but I mean that one right there it was a little scary to me.
So that's the question. Is that hate?
No.
Is that are we hating on Steve Harvey?
I don't know.
Saying that?
No, I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. I'm paralleling to what you're saying. I don't know if it's hate because there's a transgender wants to come in and run as a female or a male and they're the opposite sex. I don't know how to judge that.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
It is a hard one.
It is.
Man,
It's a hard one.
I guess I would only I guess I would feel comfortable if they had a race for transgender people.
Right.
You know, if they just go ahead and put that in as a category, then they can compete against themselves.
Well, some people say that you should compete with the sex you were born with. So if you were born a male, then maybe those transgender people should compete against the other males.
With
Because
that
they have an unfair advantage against the females.
Well,
Because that's
that-
why they have separate categories in the first place. Genetically, males have a physical advantage over females.
Well, it's except when it comes to having a baby. I ain't trying to have no baby.
Obviously.
And actually, we don't even want to see you deliver a child.
But you have a great point, Buck, because that issue exists even in collegiate and high school level sports. You know, because they don't even have a locker room to put them in. You know, that's how deep that is.
Right.
You know, because you don't want no transgender in with the boys or the girls. Okay, and then they try to get them to compete whatever sport that they chose. That's just like they say. Overall, it's just totally an unfair advantage for the transgender if he's a male.
And it just makes you wonder why they're
right.
If
Because
you're going to be
men are
transgender,
stronger.
why you competing in sports?
But Buck, think about this for a minute, just to kind of bring this around even closer. Now, how would I feel if I was a woman and I have to play in the WNBA, but I can't play in the regular NBA?
Interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You see what I'm
But
saying?
at least they have a WNBA.
Yeah, well, at least they have it.
Yeah,
That's
because
exactly
at one time
it.
there was no WNBA, remember?
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But then you have issues even outside of sports when it comes to high schools and grammar schools about going to the bathroom if you're transgender. That's been an argument for a while now.
Yep.
So that just leads into other things. Once again, it's a topic that needs to be discussed because you do have transgender people out here. There has to be a meeting of the minds that if we're going to do this, let's do it fair across the board. So like the president said, maybe you have to have a separate competing or separate, when that happens, because again, yes, you have made a transition from a man to a woman, but you still have strength of a man. So
Right.
you want to
Are
be
you
recognized.
skinny?
Or what? Again, so you go back to semantics. So
Yeah.
if they were to sit down, say at the Olympic Committee table, and work this thing out, I'm sure something would get done. But again, I don't think it's fair when you have transgender people who do this. They run track and everything else, or lift weights, and and everything else. But still, the fact that you were born as a certain sex. I'm not saying you can live your life as who you are, but just from a fair competitive position needs to be readdressed. That's all.
Man,
Now, when you go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when you brought this up, and the reason I was frowning about it was I wasn't frowning about the subject matter that you're talking about, because you just made an excellent point. I was frowning about that. I was just looking at the advertising that they've done, with the Olympics are coming. And I mean, they're trying to make it exciting. And it's like, it's falling flat. It used to be the Olympics was coming and everybody would remember when they was in LA and they came twice and they did it. People were just like excited. I mean, it sounds boring. Like, oh Lord, I'm going to go to sleep. I mean, there's nothing exciting. That's where I was coming from. It didn't have anything to do with your subject. It was the fact that it just seems like they're just like, hey,
traditionally, the Olympics gets big ratings.
You're right. That's my point. It's big. The Olympics is coming. You're waiting the track and field and the whole 9 yards. And we got a little skin in the game. With this on the podium, we got some skin in the game from that. But I was looking at the advertising the other day and it was like boring.
Right.
Maybe because we have so many more things that are interesting.
All right,
on TV
let's
nowadays.
be honest just for a minute. All right. I'm gonna be honest for a minute. I haven't checked them Olympics out since Ray Leonard and them was gone, man. I haven't been watching that kind of stuff.
I don't usually watch the Olympics either, Reggie, but you know what? With the Summer Olympics, dude, I realize why people watch them. because all those Olympic athletes have fantastic bodies.
Wow, there you go. We done got into it.
It's good looking people. We like looking at good looking people. Sorry.
But just to go full circle with the suggestion that the professor made, if you're going to have transgender, give them their own Olympics, because it's not unusual to have a special Olympics.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, but the numbers aren't there though. They just
but
don't
they
have
give
The Rainbow Olympics.
Well, they got the paralegals. I'm not the the paraplegics. They got their own.
Right.
What do they call it? They call it the Special Olympics.
Yeah. So they have their own Olympics, and it gets the hoopla and the funding and everything. But so if you give it the transgender Olympics, since they're proud of who they are or what they want to be, then they can compete against each other in whatever sport they want, and it ain't going to offend nobody.
But the question still remains: is it hating? Are we hating by saying that they should not be able to compete with people of their supposed new sex?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't have enough skin in the game to.
Now, I mean, but give me this definition of hate, though. That's what I'm like. What is hate? Because that's like been thrown around like old school and new school. What does that actually mean, though? Now, what does hate actually mean?
Hating means that you can't stand to see somebody else come up.
Okay.
So would hate be? Go back to what you said earlier. Ratings. Remember when you said about the ratings? Is the hate? I think that's the question. Is the hate? Can it affect the ratings at that point?
I don't know.
Money.
But I know
I can name that song in 2 notes.
So can NBC.
It's the parents of the other kids that are the ones always screaming the hate. Like, oh no, that's not fair. My child trained her whole life and she got beat by a boy.
That's a fair point.
It's a fair point. It really is.
That's a great point. But I think all money is good money. Trans money is good. Straight money.
They don't care.
Black money.
That's right. Money is money.
Money is money.
Because that community, they got a lot of
they spend money just like anybody else. They ain't walking around butt naked.
Yeah.
Well, look, then that means that there'll be enough money for them to create their own Olympic thing then. And
the numbers aren't there to create their own Olympics.
But Buck, this is the test.
It's not yet, but they got enough money to where is the people with money know to come after and get that money that they got. That they're gonna go after that because they got. Well, let me put it like this:
there's a market for it.
A disposable income. I mean,
exactly.
And that's the name of our game: disposable. We want to cater to the groups, the demographics, whatever that has the most disposable income. Money that you're gonna throw away. They won't,
and they're gonna put it to the test.
Yeah, and it won't take long for Nike to get behind it. I promise you.
Oh, come on, Ron. That's right.
He's speaking the truth right now.
That's right. Absolutely.
Adidas will be on that so quick.
We've just come up with a transgender line with rainbow color.
That's right.
Oh, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. But wait a minute, though. So it could be the return of the PF Flyer.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, but that might have been, that was probably before your time, but there was these shoes called the Magic Wedge, called the PF Flyers, that made you feel like you was running on the wind.
Oh, really?
Running, yeah. And then there was another
PF Flyers?
And there was another pair of shoes called Red Ball Jets, too.
And don't forget about Sears Jeepers.
Oh, man.
And these were all before the Chuck Taylor canvas.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wow.
If you got Chuck Taylors, now, when I was, let's say, about 12 years old, how much, Buck, do you think Chuck Taylors were? If you had to guess.
I don't know. $50?
$10, man.
Yeah, there's like $20, $30.
Yeah,
and you wasn't getting a pair. You couldn't even ask for a pair of Chuck Taylors. They wasn't spending no damn $20, $10.
Yeah.
Not on that. No.
$10 and 40 cents.
Kmart cons, right? Wasn't it Kmart cons?
Right. Kmart had them cons.
And 40 cents in Chicago to go down to Jewtown to get them at Kelly's.
Yeah.
In any color you wanted for $10. And you could get a pair of khakis for another $3. For $20, you could come home with an outfit.
Exactly.
Okay? But
they have
and we were so poor though, right? Some people would have to, our parents would take us, it was an old movie theater on the south side called the Southtown Theater. They had turned that into a department store called Cars. And they had a line of shoes in there. They were Bob Cousy, Mr. Basketball with the green bottom. And they only last for 3 weeks. But they only cost $3.
So I take it that wasn't the same as Marshall Fields.
No.
Oh no, that costs too much to go to Marshall Field, man. You know, I mean, I paid $3 for a pair of gym shoes.
Everybody did. That's what I'm saying. When you got school clothes, as a matter of fact, my mom didn't even take me to get the clothes. They would go get the clothes, bring it home, and tell you these are your school clothes, including your tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Period. You wasn't going there talking about I need some Jordans. What? Didn't happen.
Unheard of, man. Unheard of.
Well,
$3.
anyway, that was my topic, and
Well, I apologize. I was talking about the ratings. I wasn't talking about your topic. I was talking about the boring of the ratings. So I apologize if you took it the wrong way.
Yeah, well, so that's all I wanted to say. I just thought that there's a chance that there's some hate going on, but maybe it's legit. And maybe at some point we could talk about when is hating okay.
Well, look how they flipping it. Let's say this before we go. What's the commercial that comes out and they show the skeleton, the X-ray of the people, and you don't know if it's 2 men, 2 women, transsexual or whatever, and then they both come out on each side. Have you guys seen that commercial? You ever seen that? I don't know if they're just showing it down here. I forgot the name of it, but they show 2 people kissing, and it's a skeleton of them. Looks like an X-ray. And you don't know who's coming out, and they have it like it's 2 females, it's a black and a white, whatever the case may be. Trust and believe me, they're gonna fix it up. It's not going to be allowed to hit the surface without a spin. We live in a spin society because, like you said, let's go back. Can I get the money sound, please? That's what's gonna happen. End of story.
All right, in the show.
All right. Also, everybody, for being in the comment section, thank you as always for being there, for your comments and your suggestions and your thoughts, and all the topics tonight were great. So let's not sit back and say one was bigger than the other one. We all have conversation. I think all of them were fantastic, and that's my point. I'm sticking to it. This has been SNN Street News Now. 6 Guys and You every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel. That's SNN Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Catch us on Facebook Live and Twitter and Twitch. For Dr. Ron Ford, for Professor Reggie Miles, for Michael Amore, for Buck Wild, and our fearless leader, Mr. Lee Michaels, I'm Chris Bass. Continue to be peaceful. Take care.
Peace.